You mentioned there heart to heart, and you've got a whole section in your new book on primal leadership and the importance of emotion and sort of tapping into people's emotions. So could you just tell me a little bit about what you mean when you say emotional leadership?
It's leading at the level of emotions, through emotions, and the best leaders do this naturally. So when you speak heart to heart, you're moving people, but there's sensing that you're moved yourself. It's genuine. And the medium through which leadership is executed is relational. It is emotional. And now we know the brain centers that are involved. There's a new discovery in neuroscience. It's called the social brain. It's circuitry we didn't even know existed 10 years ago. But it turns out that when we're face-to-face, when we're on the phone even, your brain and my brain are locked together. And there's an invisible channel that's passing emotions back and forth. And the best leaders help other people get and stay in the best emotional state to work at their best.
Right. So I assume then that they themselves, if the brains are locked to some extent and this contagion occurs, then they themselves have got to be in relatively good moods most of the time.
Well, you've got to start by managing yourself. You have to lead yourself first.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So then let's just talk about that because you have a great chapter in there talking about the correlation between good moods and bottom line, and those are direct correlations. So if a leader comes to work and they read your books and they understand the contagion principle, then how do they get in a good mood if they are in a fundamentally bad mood?
Let's start with the data first.
Okay.
I think you're referring to a number of studies that show if the leader on a team or in a group is in an upbeat mood, people in that group catch that mood, and performance goes up. Decision-making gets better. Creativity improves. If the leader is in a downbeat mood, critical, angry, frustrated, people pick that up and performance goes down. So there's a direct relationship between leader's mood, team's mood, and performance. Once you understand that, you see that a leader must start by leading by managing himself or herself first, because it's going to affect everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned there about authentic leadership. People will be able to tell the difference if you're trying to get to people's emotions, but you're just faking it.
Well, we have radar for that.
Yeah.
And it's built into the brain. And, if it doesn't ring true, it's just not going to work.
Yeah. Okay. Is there such a thing as a personality type that's just a grouch? And if that is the case, if they've got any chance in leadership?
There are types of grouches. Some grouches are lovable grouches, I mean, they seem tough on the outside, but they're soft on the inside, and people pick that up. Okay. There are some grouches who are actually hostile people, who criticize, who express contempt and disgust, which is very damaging in any relationship. But leader to follower, it's terrible because it alienates people. You're going to lose people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So can you just tap into self-mastery just a little bit and tell us about how you can, you mentioned self-regulation. Sorry to use your terms. I might not be having the right, but how you actually can manage yourself if you come to work and you're in a horrible mood and you know that it's very important that you're in that.
First of all, notice that you're in a horrible mood. It takes what we call mindfulness, which is a variety of self-awareness. You have to tune into yourself. If you can easily go through the day in a horrible mood, alienating everybody else and upsetting them, and not even know. So step number one, notice. Okay. Step number two, pause. Reflect on this. Is this useful? Is it not useful? Step number three, is there something I can do to change my mood?
Daniel, just out of interest, if you were observing a sort of a group of 10 peers, do you think just by observing them be able to identify the sort of the natural leader in that group of 10 people? And if so, what do you think are some of the attributes you'd look for? Yeah,
I think that they would be listening, observing, and noticing what the unspoken need of the group is and taking the first step toward that, fulfilling that need. That's how leaders emerge. They sense what needs to happen and they make it happen.
Yeah.